So like yesterday, we sit here yesterday morning and the whole situation had exploded. So then you go, okay, it's a cutthroat industry and Ben Rutten would appear to be the collateral damage and all this. And whilst it's sad for Ben, that's just the way footy goes and he's not the first, won't be the last, all that sort of stuff. He rocks up at training while we're on air at 6 o'clock and, faces the press, good on him. And I think the expectation is, okay, once you get in there, David Barham, Xavier Campbell, whoever it is, will sit down with him and say, right, let's be upfront and honest. This is a situation. We're going hard at Alistair Clarkson, which essentially is a vote of no confidence in you.
Right.
Now, you can either elect, we won't be going with you next year, irrespective of what happens, I would imagine. So you can elect, we can make a statement. Nothing happened. He went out. We saw pictures of him coaching. He's gone through the day. I don't know how he can. Good on him. He's conducted. Zach Merritt was asked about it last night. What was it like? Well, we tried to. He put his chest up and his head high, and good on him. 6 o'clock, he walked out. The same presser there. You think you're coaching next year? Yeah, I do.
It may have been. I don't know this to be the case or not, whether somebody spoke to him and said, okay.
Well, someone had to speak to him, surely.
Well, you would think so. You would think that there's a conversation that took place and then he was given the option of whether or not he wanted to coach this week or he didn't want to coach this week. I don't know whether that's played out, but I expected that he wouldn't be coaching this week when all that took place on Monday became public about what was going on. And into Tuesday, I would have thought that it would have been a situation where he said, look, I can't coach the team under these circumstances.
Right. That's what you think. That's what I would have thought. I would think most people. But yet this is Ben Rutten having spent the whole day at Essendon while speculation swirled around him everywhere. This is him leaving after pretty much a 12-hour stint at Bomberland.
Have you been getting any insurance on your job?
No, I've been doing my job and preparing the players for this week.
Are you any clearer on where you're at now than you were this morning?
No, and I don't need it. I'm here to finish this week off and finish this season off.
Do you expect to be here next season?
Absolutely.
If you broaden that though too, and you're talking about all the other coaches that are at Essendon at the moment, because it's not just Ben Rutten's future. The disruption might be wider and much deeper than that as well, because if the club was to be able to, we know they're chasing Al Clarkson, so if they were able to secure his services, it may be that he wants to bring in other people, which means that those that are currently there may have to go as well. So it's a terrible time to be sitting there at Essendon at the moment on the coaching panel.
Yeah, and you may not know the answer to this. Are we led to believe that Ben Rutten has walked in at 6, spent the whole day going about his business, coaching and doing what he's contracted to do without a single person at Essendon saying, listen, this is the state of play? Because that, according to him, he didn't seek an assurance. Yep. He expects him to be coaching next year. So on that basis, nothing was said to him yesterday.
I can't assume that would have been the case. I cannot assume that would have been the case. I would assume that this is the case, and he's been given the option as to what he would like to do.
According to him, he fully expects to coach next year.
Well, has he said that?
That was the answer that Mitch Cleary asked him. Do you expect to be coaching next year? He said, yes, I do.
Yeah. Well, as I sit here, I don't expect that he's going to be coaching Essendon next year, and I know you don't expect that he's going to be coaching Essendon next year. Maybe it's a contractual thing. Maybe he just has been told by his manager to stay in that position, coach the season out, and then we'll sort whatever contractual arrangement that you had, and a departure from the Essendon Football Club will be sorted out in time.
I get it, and I'm not trying to be sensationalist, but
no, I know you're not.
David Barham is the president of that footy club, and Xavier's the CEO. They had to sit him down yesterday. It had, the respect for the man had to be that you call him into the office and say, this is the state of play.
If you were David Barham too, and you were the new chairman, president of the Essendon Football Club, would you not, I don't know whether this took place or not, but would you not go out there and address everybody?
Yes.
Further to what you're saying, like obviously you've got to talk to Rutten, and then you've got to talk to the players, and you've got to talk to the staff. You can say, okay, major disruption, this is where we're at, this is my plan going forward, business as usual, everybody.
1,000%. And the first person you talked to is Ben Rutten. And when he walked in while we were on air yesterday, you would hope that they would go, right, Ben, clearly you understand what's going on. He says it's not ideal. He goes, right, this is the state of play right now.
Yeah.
And we're not going to go next year, go with you next year. We are pursuing whatever we're doing here, but so let's make a statement, to the group so we all know. Nothing. The poor bloke, well, again, I'm assuming what he said is true. The poor bloke spent the whole day and he's going to have to front up again today while everyone else has got an opinion on him.
I think we can assume that there's been conversations that he doesn't want to talk about publicly, that he's had privately with, Xavier Campbell, maybe David Barham. I don't know whether he's got a relationship with David Barham or not, but you would assume that is the case.
Why would he still be there?
Because he wants to be, because he wants to coach the season out. That can be the only reason that he still wants to be there.
Sure. And
he has a contract and he's going to adhere to that contract.
So when he says he expects to coach next year, what's that mean?
That means that he hasn't been told that he's not coaching next year.
Which is not right, is it?
No, I don't think it is right.
Anyway,
I agree with you. I don't think it is right.
So Zach Merritt,
particularly if they've decided, okay, if they're chasing, and we know this to be true, okay, they're chasing Clarkson right now.
Yeah, so then it becomes
and they're trying to secure him as their coach. So if you're that person that's sitting there in that position, you'd be saying, okay, well, clearly you have no faith in me if you're out there publicly. Well, not publicly, but you're out there trying to secure the services of somebody else.
Yeah, but this I don't want to be derogatory, but you're a lame duck. You're just,
of course you are.
You're just sitting there.
Yeah,
so
of course you are.
What's the point? Is my question there? Make the decision. You've made your decision, so cut right and say thanks, Brett. Ben is untenable, and as I said, they will cop their criticism for the way all that stuff. You got to wear that because you made your decision, but you got to cut. You can't just leave him fronting up.
That's true, but I think the only reason you've made that commitment as the coach to those other coaches that are around you and the players, and you are fulfilling that commitment. That I don't know that's why he's doing what he's doing, but in answer to your question, that may be it. It may be as simple as that.
Yeah, well, that is true.
Do you think? Can I just move on to another?
So if he turns up at training today,
he will be there.
Yeah, no, if and when.
Yeah.
He's going to have to front the whole media scrum again. And he's going, I'm going to do what I did yesterday. And I think I want to coach tomorrow. And the whole time.
That's what happens when you hold a public position like this.
Throwing everything at Alistair Clarkson.
It's an unfortunate part of it, and it is.
So that's why you cut.
People are right. I mean, it's an appalling way for somebody to find an appalling situation for somebody to find themselves in. But, look, I've been a coach, right? So when you take on that position, right, you have to expect that there is scrutiny, that one day you might get sacked or one day you might, like I did, one day you're going to put in your resignation, you say, okay, I'm not the right person for this job, and then you're going to have to cop whatever comes as a result of that. That's the job that you take on. And you take on the job knowing that is possibly going to be the case one day.
Yeah. And I'm not... People are passionate about this. I'm not having a go at Ben Rutten. I'm just saying from his own point of view and from the club's point of view, just make the decision and let him know. And then if he says, well, look, I'd like to finish and coach this weekend, okay, good. Go. There's no harm done there. Finish and coach this weekend, but we won't be going with you next year, so let's deal with that.
If you were North Melbourne, would you be giving Al Clarkson an ultimatum right now?
It's one option open to them, is to not call his bluff, but say, look, we understand, but by tomorrow we need to know, otherwise we're going to move on, because then that puts him, he loses the position that he's in right now. Now he may be, who knows what he's thinking at the moment. Or they might just say, no, we're prepared to wait. We understand, we've put our best foot forward, we realise that Essendon are going to put their best foot forward, and we can wait another week.
Yeah. They do need to move on at some point, though. If they don't get Clarkson, then they've got to go, and I'm sure they've got a plan B there somewhere that they're ready to activate, but they would need to know at some stage, and sooner rather than later, because there's a lot of planning that takes place between now and the pre-season part of the year as well. So,
so the only person apart from Ben Rutten that walked in and out that we heard from yesterday was Zach Merritt, who fronted up on AFL 360, and I thought this was a poignant point. And this is why clubs, the obligation is to get your club right, because your players, the expectation is the players want to be the best they can be in an environment. So this time last year, he was weighing up his future, Zach Merritt, and people he copped a bit of criticism, but in the end he was right.
I copped a bit of criticism probably last year for holding out a contract about direction of the club, and to be sitting here in a bit of mess 12 months later is a bit disappointing, but also have committed long term to the club and really hopeful that in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 months that they get really clear on what they want to achieve and how we're going to achieve it, and all fall into line massively on that path.
You can extrapolate that out to players that have left. Essendon in the past, I know you've been vocal on all this sort of stuff in terms of getting your house in order, because if you don't, then the Zach Merritts of the world are well within their rights. In this instance, he stayed, which is great for the Bombers because he's going to be the future. But so's the right of Danaher and Sard and whoever else left because they weren't certain. It continues to play out.
That's right. And you have a finite period to which you can play this game, and you're going to be capable physically to play this game. And when you get to a point like Zach Merritt has in his career, you just don't want to start again and again and again. I mean, you want to feel like you're on some sort of surety or safe ground and everything's heading in the right direction and you're about to embark upon a rebuilding program with a coach and everything's happening around you, which he would have been given assurances for and about 12 months ago. And now he finds himself in a position now where, as he described it, it's a bit of a mess.
Yes, they were nice and succinct yesterday. Ben Rutten said it's not ideal. And then Zach Merritt said it's a bit of a mess. So that it is.
And then you got Kevin Sheedy. He was on a podcast yesterday, obviously. He's also part of the Essendon board, talking about Clarkson, North Melbourne, Tasmania. Have a listen to what he had to say.
Man, I think Clarkson could be a person moving into North Melbourne, and I wouldn't be surprised to take him down to Tasmania. We just don't know. You don't know what's in other people's thinking, do you? He's been locked into Tasmania with the state government down there because everybody wants North Melbourne to move because we've got too many teams here. You just never know if Alistair says, look, this is a bit bigger picture than just me going to coach a team in Melbourne. This might be a huge move for him.
It may be, but neither of us think that's going to happen.
How do you reckon that went down with North Melbourne supporters? Everybody wants North Melbourne to move, he said.
Yeah, well, that wouldn't have gone down well. I wasn't thinking so much about that bit.
Straight away, he's linked Clarkson. Yeah, he'd be a good fit because he's going to take him to Tassie, basically. She's just saying.
Is that what he was saying?
He said, yeah. He said everybody wants him to move. Clarkson's been down there working with the Tasmanian government. That could be a good fit. How do you reckon that went? Do you reckon there's a rivalry between Essendon and North Melbourne? I'm not on social media.
We haven't got the schedule. When do they play against each other next year?
They should just say, listen, let's have Essendon and North this week, just as an extra little bonus game. I don't think that would have gone down too well at all. Dave's in Langwarren.
Like a pocket chop.
G'day, Dave.
G'day, mate. Look, I'd just like to say about Ben Rutten. Why does it have to be you're in or you're out? Maybe he's a fantastic employee of the club. Maybe they love him, but it's been a strained relationship because of the lack of success. Maybe they want to retain him. Maybe the players do love him. We don't know from the outside. Maybe he wants to stay on and support whoever they get in. Look, there might have been a nice conversation about, Ben Rutten, you were the best coach for us until Alistair Clarkson was available. Guess what? How'd you like to work for the best coach in the land? And why does it always have to...
So, Dave, on that basis, if Clarkson says no, do you think Rutten remains as coach?
No, he couldn't stay if Alistair Clarkson didn't want him. But,
No. If Clarkson says no to Essendon, are you saying that Ben Rutten remains as coach?
Oh, well, potentially, but maybe he wants to stay at the club regardless. Maybe they've had a conversation that, look, we need success. We need some better results. Do you want to stay on if we get another coach? Because we do love you, but it's not, you're not doing the A1 job at the moment. And for that Nick Hind, he should be dropped. There should be a club stand here, and for that disrespect that player showed, he should be dropped this week, 100%.
Yeah, he spoke about. Thanks for your call, Dave. I heard him talk about that yesterday.
Yeah.
There was perspective around that, whether you take it or not. But what do you say to Dave about Ben Rutten staying? If in fact that's what he wants to do,
I would think that's highly unlikely that he would want to stay on at Essendon and be an assistant coach, having been the coach.
Yep.